This is the New York City FC Pregame Live. Today, New York City look to get back in the win column as they hit the road to take on Nashville SC. And now, here are your hosts, Crooks and Matty Lawrence.
Yeah, New York City has never won in Nashville, not here at Geodis Park, nor at the Nissan Stadium, which is no longer utilized by the soccer side. And then there's another stadium going up next to that, we've learned.
And another Nissan Stadium.
Another Nissan Stadium. So Nissan Stadium squared, and we're at Geodis Park. I'm Glenn Crooks. There's Matty Lawrence, and we've got your live commentary today. Beginning at, when we landed yesterday, I forgot we were losing an hour. So local time, it'll be a 3:40 p.m. kickoff, and back home on the East Coast, 4:40 p.m. And our live commentary begins with the pregame show at 4:15 p.m. Eastern with Pascal Janssen. Now, not only has New York City never won in Nashville, New York City has just one road win on the season, Matty. And then you counter that with Nashville has the best home record in MLS. So when you come into a match like this with all the statistical information, you would say the odds are against New York City, but it is football, and you just never know what's going to happen.
I thought I was supposed to be the pessimistic one. Now you've laid that all out for us, and I have to come in with optimism now, Glenn. I have to counter that with some optimism.
Maybe it was a setup.
Thank you. But yeah, look, what we have to see is a retort from what happened in midweek against Houston, because I don't think there's anything wrong in saying that was pretty pitiful against Houston to lose 3-0 at your own place, your own stadium, your own fortress it should be. And Yankee Stadium has been, to a certain extent, been a fortress over the sort of the 11 seasons, 9 seasons we've done together, 11 seasons you've worked. It has been a hard place to go and get a result. And Houston did it with a reserve team, Glenn. Houston did it, well, certainly with half a reserve team, that's for certain. And they did it very, very comfortably. Take nothing away from Houston. They could only beat what was in front of them. But what was in front of them on Wednesday was a very, very tepid NYCFC, a team that looked tired. That's mentally and physically, Glenn. So there needs to be a reply. What's going to be the reaction today from NYCFC, which is why I have to look at this with optimism. Yes, the stats go against it, but you have to think if you're a player and you have any modicum of professional pride, you're going to come out firing on all cylinders today, and you're going to find that extra percentage or two today to prove to the gaffer, prove to the manager that what he saw in midweek wasn't a true reflection of you yourself or this NYCFC team.
Just one change. So Agustin Ojeda will come in for Julian Fernandez. The rest is the same. And Pascal elected to keep things the same at the beginning of the second half, even though New York City failed to get a shot on goal in the opening half of play. And then it was a 4-player substitution, all like for like. And you got the feeling that part of it was looking towards this match today, which will be the third match in 6 days, and partly, as he put it, to try to provide some energy in the team.
I must admit, I was a little surprised that there weren't changes at halftime. We know that this manager isn't scared to make changes. Yeah. He made a double substitution after about 33 minutes in one of the previous games. I thought there would be a double or treble substitution at halftime. Yes, there wasn't. He didn't get a reaction from his halftime team talk. In fact, almost the polar opposite. He got a team that switched off mentally and conceded a goal within 5 minutes of his halftime team talk. So that doesn't reflect well on the manager that he didn't manage to draw something out of the players. But it, more importantly for me, having been a player, it reflects badly on the players. You can't blame a manager for giving a team talk and laying out exactly what he wanted them to do and them doing the polar opposite. The quadruple substitution, again, didn't really have any effect, did it?
No.
And yes, he gave some people a rest, the likes of Maxi Morales, who at his age, at his stage of his career, he shouldn't be playing this many minutes, Glenn. Every now and again, he should be up on the sideline, having a little muffin, having a cookie, and taking a rest.
Well, I told Maxi at 1,300 minutes, he is second among the outfield players And then Roberto Abramowitz on the Spanish commentary side just came in and said, "Hey, Maxie wanted to know who was number one," and it's Justin Hack.
Well, I like
lot younger,
that.
yeah,
Maybe the fact that he wants to be number one. Of course, any player wants to play, but when you're 38 years of age, it takes you longer to recover. That is for sure. I played until I was 38. I know it certainly did. You creaked out of bed every single morning, let alone the travelling that you have to do in this league, and the fact that it's 3 games in 6 days, 3 games in 7 days, whatever it's
Well,
been.
he had said Alonso Martinez didn't look the same, and he was one of the 4 that came out in favor of Montserrat Bakra. But New York City was unable to get anything out of it. And for Gabe Siegel, returning to the club where he played 10 games a couple of seasons back and scored a couple of goals, has a brace, and it was really it was nice for him, and you could see that his former teammates were happy for him, despite the fact that it was a sort of a demoralizing loss, because ran into Ben Olsen on the way out, and he smiled and said,
couldn't believe his luck.
You won with that team that you started, with all those reserves in the 11, and he just said New York City looked tired, and I presented that with Pascal Janssen. So the whole one-on-one with Pascal will be coming up on the network. That's nycfc.com/radio, or if you have the TuneIn app or the NYCFC app, you can just click on and listen to us on the pregame, but also Pascal Janssen. Now, one disturbing thing from this game, Maddie, on the physical side, was Keaton Parks. Now, Parks had not played since May the 4th and came in for a cameo against Chicago. And he looked good. He got it. He actually got stuck in for a couple of tackles and was moving well. So now he comes off the bench in the 74th minute against Houston midweek, and a short time thereafter, he started hobbling a little bit. So I asked Pascal Janssen about Keaton Parks and the concerns about a midfielder who he has said all season long is pretty critical to how he wants to get things done here.
Well, the concern has been there for a while because the complaints within the foot are very inconsistent and sometimes very consistent. So it's kind of a mystery what's going on. So I know the medical team is working day and night in order to help Keats and improve the problems that he has, but it also holds him back from training properly and being available for the games as much as he can. But the good thing is he's on the roster for tomorrow, so he's with us, and hopefully the foot doesn't give him any issues going into this game, and he can have some play time again.
So you hear the concern, and I think the thing there that's struck me, it's kind of a mystery. Boy, when you have injuries that are a mystery, those personally, it's like I want to know what's wrong with me so I can figure out how to fix it, but also from a team standpoint and the coaching team as well.
That's absolutely anything in life, isn't it? You want to know what's wrong so you can fix it. Why am I doing a bad job at work? Let me know what I'm doing badly, and then I can resolve those issues. The same with an injury. Even when, luckily, I was very, very lucky not to have some truly bad injuries, Glenn. But when I knew what the injury was, you could then lay out whether it's surgery, whether you can delay surgery to the end of the season, what your prehab can be to stop it getting worse, what your rehab can be once you've had the operation, or whether you just have to rest. When you don't know what the problem is, and Pascal Janssen has told us, it becomes very, very bewildering and troubling for you as a player. And then, of course, for the medical staff, because we know full well they'll have had MRI scans, there will have been x-rays.
Well, one thing we do know, too, I mean, he's received injections to try to curtail the pain.
Had cortisone injections or anesthetic
and
injections.
That's part of the surprise that they have right now, is that it's not responding
because
to that.
Now nobody can work to fix it, really. You have to, sometimes you may have to rest him for 2 weeks, see if that alleviates the problem. Then just let him play where the pain allows him. And I think Pascal Janssen said, maybe not in the clip that you said, but he said sometimes he plays with very little pain, and then sometimes he'll play with an awful lot of pain. And that in itself is problematic. You don't know which Keaton Parks are going to get out there. And it makes it very difficult to have Keaton Parks as a substitute when you don't know whether he's going to be able to just play 5 minutes or 20 minutes or 45 minutes.
I want to make a correction, too, in the Parks is on the bench, by the way. and Perea is also. Andres Perea is on the bench. He in the scrolling lower third here, I noticed that on the substitutes bench, Perea is not listed, but he indeed is part of the squad here. So, well, the Parks thing is disturbing, but that leaves it to Johnny Shore to put in major minutes, along with Aiden O'Neill, who is still fielding his way, and Maxi Morales with the maximum minutes. But if Perea is healthy, that certainly can alleviate some of the concern with Parks. But Parks is he's the rhythm guy in there, and he is. And that's what you're losing.
He's the rhythm guy, and he's the experienced player in MLS. Aiden O'Neill is an experienced player, but not within MLS.
Right.
Johnny Shaw is a good player, but very inexperienced. He's only 17 years of age. Pereira, even himself, hasn't played that many games. I do think that Keaton Parks is the fulcrum. He makes this team tick when he's playing. So it's a better team when he's in it. The good thing for me, Glenn, is that after today, there's only the 2 games in 28 days. I think the next game is on the 12th, and then the game after that is on the 28th. So there's 12 days in between this Nashville game and the next one, and then 16 days after that game on the 12th. So it gives him some kind of rest.
But also we don't know that.
But that's the thing. It seems that the medical staff and Pascal Janssen himself, if you don't know what the problem is, you don't know that a couple of weeks of rest is going to solve the problem anyway. So as Pascal said, and we'll use his word, it's a mystery. And that's when things become troubling, especially when this is a team that really needs a lift. And Keaton Parks gives this team a lift when he starts within it.
New York City playing at Nashville, and, they're unbeaten in their last 9. And New York City, in the month of May, they're closing out an 8-game stretch in May, and 3 wins, 3 losses, and 1 draw. And that record will probably also help describe the lack of consistency in the team during this stretch. Coming off this 3-0 loss to Houston. So I put this to Pascal Janssen as part of our pregame show as well.
With a third match in 6 days, and you talked about in your weekly presser, Alonso Martinez didn't look himself, so Monsef Bakrar got another opportunity. I happened to bump into Ben Olsen after the game, the opposing coach, and he thought you looked tired, or your players looked tired. I don't know if that was a consideration for maybe how it just didn't, that energy that you're referring to.
Yeah, it could be, but on the other hand, when you play professional football, you should be able to play multiple games in a week. So that will never be an excuse for our team going forward. So the one thing that does come to mind, rotating players, or when do you make your subs?
Right.
And this was one of the reasons why I chose to have 4 guys coming in at the hour mark in order to create more energy, because it was needed. But that doesn't take away the fact that we shouldn't have conceded the second goal like we did, because that has nothing to do with energy.
Well, as we've heard from Pascal throughout our brief time with him, he's not about making excuses for any of the considerations, and he understood that the players didn't make it happen.
Yeah, and Ben Olsen said that, and I make him right, that the players did look tired, but you can't take anything away from the fact, or you can't make excuses when Houston have just had to travel all the way from San Jose back home, and then all the way over to the East Coast, and they've managed to look alive and alert. I think mental strength or lack of mental strength can make you feel tired. You know that it's all in your, or not all, but a lot of it can be in your mind. And also when you're playing well, you can go forever. You want to play every other day. If you're winning, you want to play, let's have another game tomorrow. If not, the final whistle goes. And if you've won 6-0, you're like, let's go. Let's have another game straight away. That's what happens. And that's why it's troubling for me, the inconsistency and how consistent those inconsistencies are. The loss to Montreal was quite a devastatingly bad performance. Then there's 3 good performances. DC United, granted it was only a draw, but it was a good away performance.
Yeah.
And then you beat your local rivals. Then you have a good performance against FC Cincinnati. And it looks as though the consistency's being found. Chicago. Sorry. It looks as though that consistency level is being found. And then you put in another
Well,
Montreal
there was
type
a win at
performance.
home against Cincinnati not
There
too,
was,
far,
but
too
that
long
was a
ago
little
either.
bit, yes.
And Philadelphia.
I'm getting confused with the
that
C's.
preceded the Montreal game.
Well, there you
And,
go. The highs, the low,
yeah.
the highs, and then the low.
Well, let's. I'm going to play something here, Maddie, and I find it intriguing when you can get on the inside of things. And Pro Referees has put out a video and audio of the Chicago-New York City match when Jay Davila was red carded near the end of the game. It was the third and essentially deciding goal as Martinez converted the penalty. It was that long throw by Freeze. Agustin Ojeda got behind, then he cut it back, and it looked like he was taken down, and the penalty was called, and then it was a second yellow, which resulted in a red card and suspension for Davila. Now, as you listen through this, and this is a conversation mostly between Jorge Gonzalez, who is the video assistant referee, over 230 games as the video assistant referee in MLS, and Mendoza. Rosendo Mendoza is the referee in that game, and he's the one that has to ultimately make the decision, and it's Gonzalez who ultimately says you got to go look at it again, which is generally saying, look, we know it shouldn't be a penalty to begin with, and certainly then you got the second yellow card and the red card, but part of this is what you should know, even before we play this, Maddie, is that the red card was rescinded by MLS, their disciplinary committee, midweek. So keep all that in mind, but I think this is pretty cool to get a little listen on the inside.
Calling a penalty kick.
He's calling a penalty
and
kick.
showing a yellow card.
He's already on.
42. He's already yellow red card. Number 42.
Okay, let's go back to the reset to see. I know this. He was on the.
The reason. Stop.
Yeah.
Everybody away.
Let me see what's the ball.
Something right here.
Back. Yeah, you got to
The
go back
reason
to the
I am
reset.
calling the
Reset.
penalty-
Reset.
Jorge, I
This
want
is
you to
reset.
listen to this too.
Yes.
The reason I'm calling the penalty, he does get the ball, and then he gets the guy right here with the stunt. 100%. I worked my ass off to have that angle right there. 100%.
Okay. Does he?
Two.
Yeah.
Does he get the ball?
Does he? He gets the ball first.
And then he comes through the
La
player?
jugada es
But he's
nuestra,
saying he got
por eso es penal.
studs up his leg. That's what he
Okay,
said.
that's what he's saying. Yeah, you slow down 50%. Okay, I like the low mid. Low mid. Okay, go back. We're checking these, Rosendo. Hold on. How much time we got?
Be on the line, they're still
We're all
checking it.
We're still checking. It's the top of his shoe. Hitting
Yeah,
the back of his leg.
It's a difficult one.
Top of the shoe is
Yeah,
hitting the
but-
back of his leg.
Yeah, but it's not what he's saying that he gets the
That's
answer.
right.
That's why they're
Yeah.
struggling, 'cause they can't-
Okay, Rosendo, you tell me that he starts get the back of the leg?
No, not the back of the leg. He does get the ball, but then he does get part of the leg.
Okay, but he gets to the ball first,
But
Rosendo.
It doesn't matter. It's a
playing
wrestling
matter.
challenge, Jorge. It doesn't matter. He goes over it and
Gotcha.
onto the leg.
He gets the ball first.
Okay.
And the other player puts his foot in the way.
Estoy marcando el penal porque hace contacto con la pierna.
See that? He's going for the ball. That's 50-50 right there. That's 50-50 right there.
That's 50-50
He gets
right
it,
there.
His ball,
Yeah.
his foot goes down to the ground.
This we went out. Yeah, for me this is no. It's para mí no es penal. No, Rosendo, I'm going to tell you. Okay, I'm going to recommend a review for no PK. Okay, because you're going to see. Okay, we're going to clean the IPP while we add it. All right. Okay, Rosendo, here we go. We're going to show you the play. 50%. This is when it starts. Okay, go back. Back. Stop it right there. Stop it before that. Okay. Antes, yeah, before. Okay, but look, Rosendo. Okay,
50-50.
listen to me, Rosendo. He gets the ball clearly. Now we're going to play 50%. Go ahead. See? His foot is down. It's not like he comes in through the leg, back of the leg. You know what I mean? Boom, right there.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I am that close, and I'm telling you, the studs get the back right there, right where it's orange. I'm right there. I'm sticking with the decision of.
Okay, I'm telling you, the stats do not get this guy, but you're sticking with your decision, that's fine. But for us, he gets the ball first.
No,
Okay.
No, I agree with that. From this angle, I cannot tell what's different from what I.
Okay, so you want a different angle, Rosendo? I'm telling you, this guy's not getting him with the stats. He plants the foot on the ground after he gets the ball.
Wow. So, and the thing that really stood out to me is when Rosendo Mendoza said, I worked my ass off to get that angle. So it was all about him. Yeah, okay, I don't know how many meters.
In a good position.
I got myself in a good
I
position.
I sprinted 80 meters.
But if we're going to
be
use
rewarded.
VAR, this is what you use it.
Yeah.
We have it. You have to utilize it.
The,
That's
the
part
other
of
problem for me is, yes, he's already, his own ego is working. He's like, I've run 80 meters, I've got in a good position. But for anybody in any walk of life to say, before they've seen anything, I am 100% certain that the studs caught the player without seeing anything apart from in normal time, Glenn, that means you've already got your blinkers on. You're unwilling to see anything else because I am 100% sure, 100%, that's all there is. I'm sure that that's what happened. That's in ridiculous. Nobody is 100% sure of anything. Well, except I'm 100% sure I'm going to die at some point. You know, that's insane for a referee to say that before he's seen anything.
We have some people that have joined and are wondering about, why are we showing this long VAR? First of all, I think it's fascinating. How often do we get an inside audio look at that, right?
Yeah.
And but beyond that, it's just it's to pinpoint that sometimes the referee. The ego gets in the way, and that certainly was part of this. And then for Chicago, look, it may have not had any impact on the game. Chicago now was down 2 players, but not for a particularly long period of time. So
it had no effect on that game, but luckily they get the player back.
Exactly. If they hadn't gotten the player back, and that decision was rescinded. All right, so there you go. That was the Chicago game. The New York City won 3-1 before the 3-0 loss to Houston. One other note for tennis for Nashville today here in Tennessee. We are at the Geodis Park. It's a beautiful place to watch a game. But Walker Zimmerman, he's been out a couple of months with a concussion, and he will be in the starting 11 tonight. 32-year-old center back, U.S. international. He'll wear the captain's armband, and that's an interesting twist because it hasn't always been so secure at the back for Nashville this year.
It certainly hasn't. They weren't that secure when Zimmerman came on in the last game. But look, he's slowly getting back into match fitness, into match practice. Zimmerman is one of the best defenders in MLS. And more than that, for me, he's one of the leaders for this Nashville SC team. I think almost his leadership qualities on the pitch, in the dressing room, at the training ground are almost more important than his ability. And as we know, his abilities are good because he plays for the US men's national team. It's a very good thing, I think, for everybody, for us as a neutral, to see Walker Zimmerman playing. I think it's great to see him, and he is a very, very good football. But as I say, more importantly for this national team, he's a leader.
Well, we'll look forward to this one just a couple of minutes away. One other thing we'd like to show, and because we really like it. Who doesn't like Malachi Jones? Well, he got married within the last couple of days. This is off his Instagram. His new wife, Delaney. I remember last year when they got engaged. But Malachi, he had a second surgery on that double fracture on March the 17th in Manchester. And the number of people that ask, including the Neil Sika, who's doing the Apple Television today, when's Malachi coming back? It's going to be a long time, folks. And part of it is because of this second surgery, how long it's taken. But something that's very difficult in his life, now something added to it that adds a lot of positive. And congratulations to Malachi and Delaney, yes, as they tie the knot. And one other thing I want to show you, Matt. You'll like this. Okay, nice T-shirt, Maddie. Thanks for repping. Kevin
You're
Rogers,
welcome.
The Mets. Well, Maddie's celebrating the fact that Citi Field, right across the street from Seaver Way, will be the new Etihad Park with the 2027 set to be. I
look forward to
opening.
the day. Will we be able to do a double header? Will we be able to do that? Is it if they leave 3 hours in between end time and start time?
I don't know. I feel like we've asked that question of Brad Sims, and I don't recall what the answer was. I think there has to be. I think if it's a long enough split, but you can't get a long enough split because unless the soccer match starts at noon, and it's not extra innings in baseball screw you up.
Yes,
so maybe first a soccer start, and then I don't know. And then if you start at noon, then folks in England and Europe can actually watch the game too, which is part of the Apple TV deal, right? Is it's global.
Yeah.
Most of the globe is sleeping, but it's global. So hopefully you're awake for this one because it's an afternoon game. So listen, if you are putting this on Apple TV, that when we're home, there's this drop-down app, and you can sync it right off the TV. Can't do that here. You have to sync it up off of TuneIn or the NYCFC app, or go to the website with the video, and then that's how you're going to pick up me and Maddie on this game. So that's going to do it for us. It's New York City against Nashville SC, coming up from Geodis Park here in Nashville. Our pregame show starts in about 5 or 6 minutes on the network, nycfc.com/radio. Maddie, look forward to it.
Yes, very much. I'm looking forward to a win, hopefully.
Yeah, all right. We'll have a good chat about it coming up soon. Thanks for joining us here. We'll talk to you soon.